I saw this question today on Reddit. Was Ayn Rand a humanist? Now, I've read a few of her writings and things about her. One thing that I never thought about was her relationship to humanism. On a complete side note, this makes me want to go down a rabbit hole of different thinkers that I know about from the 20th, 21st century, maybe even the 19th century, and compare and rank them in relations to humanism. But not today, Satan. Maybe this week. So on that Reddit post, I added what was on the surface of my mind. I didn't actually have an answer to the question. But I love those kind of questions. To be honest, at this point, it doesn't even matter if I have an answer to that question. Even if it's just fun for my side note or for a side quest, after giving a quick off-the-cuff answer, speaking hopefully to the point that without knowing more about what the person asking the question was meaning by humanism, like secular humanism or religious humanism, that it might be difficult to answer the question. To the best I remember, though, that her ideas of objectivism, with the big O, do have some overlap with key ideas of a lot of humanistic philosophers. What really got me interested was some of the humanistic philosophers that I looked up after reading this question and like racking my brain had to say about Anne. Two names really jumped out at me while I was looking at the different articles and what people had said, and two of those thinkers were Penn Jillette and Gene Roddenberry, not Sean Roddenberry. Two thinkers that have inspired me ever since I was a child. And I'm going to focus more on Gene here because something really clicked with me today, and that I was full of anxiety. I had to go to take a walk to just deal with it. And I want to give that idea more time in the future. So that's what I'm going to kind of talk about today. In the beloved optimistic world that Gene created with Star Trek, to me, is humanist propaganda, almost equivalent to the Bible, in the fact that it delivers fables with moral and ethical intrinsic value in the form of weekly good news. One of the interesting notes from this world set in the future is this idea that the Federation doesn't have a need for currency or money. Some people have taken this aspect to say that Star Trek's Federation is an example of some form of socialism or communist society. I would say that it's not capitalism either, but it would have more in common with the ideas born from the thinkers that have argued for capitalism and other philosophical ideas surrounding that. If we were to strip away the ideas of money and currency from a capitalist society, could we have any teachings or ideas that would still hold value? And I lean towards a yes. First, to tackle the core concept of capitalism, the idea of, well, capital. Most might say that it's assets in the form of money or currency. But assets just mean something of value, be that precious metals, jewels, people, or other physical objects, maybe even ideas like the form of intellectual property. Let's think about it. Let's think about if capitalism is the private ownership of the means of production in the pursuit of profit, aka adding value in the form of assets over time, driven by competitive markets and the values of property, rights, and voluntary exchange. This, of course, is an oversimplified view of capitalism, but let's add a little of Gene's Star Trek into the mix. What is it that the members of the Federation value? What do the likes of Captain Picard and Janeway fight for? Picard in First Contact states that acquisition of wealth is no longer a driving force in our lives. We work to better ourselves and the rest of humanity. Wealth does not mean value. In fact, in this short statement from Picard, one could state that the Federation values individual rights and the well-being of the individuals that make up the Federation. What does it mean to better ourselves? Well, to simply put, that doesn't really matter here. What matters is what we know about these fictional characters and what they value in self-improvement. We know first and foremost that expanding humanity's understanding of the universe and all the fascinating aspects that make up our universe is at the top of that list. The Starfleet characters that we meet throughout 5 television series and 10 movies seek to improve not just their lives, but those around them. They use philosophical naturalism, secular ethics, and human reasoning as a basis for their decision making, which, if you don't know, is very popular amongst science fiction writers of the 20th century. Isaac Asimov, Gene Roddenberry, even Ayn Rand. I'm now going to impose a few of my own worldviews, but I feel that that's greatly inspired by Star Trek itself. Which I mean to say is that in a world, in a society or a community that values individuals bettering themselves, must understand these individuals will inevitably challenge the very core of what that community is. This is why oppressive communities and societies don't have rights or ability to improve yourself. Individual growth is a change at a faster pace than communities are. Think about all the civil unrest of all 12,000 plus years of human history. Its individuals have outgrown what they were told was right. They challenged the status quo. for better or for worse. And this is true of all the fictional heroes in Star Trek. Be that Kirk, Picard, Sisko, Janeway, Archer, they all seek to improve their world and those that live in it. They may be raised in that society, but as a part of the number one value in that society, they were taught to not just take things on face value or on faith. This is how many of those heroes could break the prime directive and still be heroes. This is even seen in the antagonistic characters of the Star Trek universe. The ideas of what they think is right, to fight for that so strongly, what they believe in to be right, even if it might not be, that could cost them greatly. Because you can't have growth and improvement without risk and a chance of failure. It's my belief that the Star Trek universe and the Federation within it is more capitalist than socialist. In fact, they have a sense of private ownership of the means of production, and that they seek to improve the assets, and that asset over time. That asset being the individual. Each individual member of the Federation is, in a way, their own factory. A factory of art, engineering, scientific discovery, medical improvements, architecture and design, or even simply being part of something that is greater than oneself. Each person seeks to selfishly improve themselves, because the better they are, the better of their whole society is. They take a simple idea of the weakest link and they seek to improve themselves. And what I mean by that is, if the weakest runner of a track group is still faster than most other members of other track groups, their track group has a higher chance of being the winner. This could seem pretty cold-hearted on the surface. But ask yourself, do you improve your weakest skill set or improve your strongest? If I had B's in math, C's in art, and D's in English, which of these should I improve? Put more time into, I guess is what I'm saying here. Some might want to have a balanced life and choose to maybe get all C's in all three. Others think that they should not have any D's. A few think they can get an A in math at the cost of other things. I personally love art. It's my passion. Even though I'm better at math, it's more important to me to be happy in life than it is to be more successful. So I shoot for an A in art, knowing that maybe I could get a B. But that's the risk. And I'll leave you with these thoughts that have been racing in my mind all day. And until next time.